There's no question that pornography affects our own mental state. Like all addictions, pornography and sex can cause damage to the brain, and that damage will radiate into other areas of our brain, affecting our mood. One of the major side effects of sex addiction is depression. In a study performed by Dr. Skinner of the psychologytoday.com, he surveyed 450 individuals about their pornography use habits and whether or not they had suffered from any form of depression. The results were pretty staggering. Dr. Skinner used a depression survey that measured severity. 0 is no depression of any kind, while 21 and above is severe depression. According to his study, 30% of the people reported that they viewed pornography at least 3 to 5 times a week, and over 25% of those people indicated they viewed pornography daily. When looking at individuals who viewed pornography at least 3 to 5 times a week, they averaged a score of almost 18. Now, according to this particular scale, that would equate to moderate depression. Individuals who viewed pornography daily, at least once a day, scored in the severe depression range of over 21, while those who viewed it simply 3 to 5 times a week, not as consistently, averaged a little above 15. Not great, but not severe depression. Now, severe depression is nothing to mess with. Some signs and symptoms include sadness, obviously, hopelessness, short temper, irritability, loss of interest, poor sleep, worthlessness, etc. In addition to depression, though, there is also a strong correlation between narcissism and pornography use. Now, narcissism is a total obsession with oneself and a lack of empathy for others. Think of narcissism as an extreme version of selfishness. Studies have shown that as we use pornography more and more, our empathy towards others decreases. And unsurprisingly, pornography and sex addiction tend to be motivated by selfish gratification. Therefore, it leads to even more and more behavior that is selfish or instantly gratifying. A common issue with pornography and sex addiction is low self-esteem or low self-image. Now, this is because pornography specifically tends to idealize a person's looks. The build, the physical features, confidence, or sexual features that men and women covet. It needs to be understood, though, that these women and men engaging in pornography, that's their profession. They are paid to look and act a certain way. So that view is totally different than what we would see from a normal person out in public. And it doesn't matter if we're comparing ourselves to a porn star or someone on social media, there is a direct correlation to lower self-image. Simply be thankful for who you are and what you can bring to the world. If there's something you want to change about yourself, find your motivation and make the change. So there's some of the issues that we see here with pornography and sex addiction mentally, but these also extend into other areas too. Anger, shame, guilt, anxiety, and chronic stress. The good news is the less and less and less you use pornography, or the less you act outside of your marriage or your relationship sexually and engage in sexual addictive behavior, the less those other effects will have an effect on you. The anger will go down, the depression will go down, the anxiety will go down. Myself included in this. When I was at the deepest, worst moments of my pornography use, I almost committed suicide. I was that depressed. I was that down and out. Now, being 7 years removed from my pornography addiction, I can tell you with great joy that I am less depressed, I'm less angry, I have almost no anxiety. Life is good, and it can be for you too. I want you to think about how not just the pornography and sex addiction has affected your life, but I want you to think about how it has affected you mentally. Do you have any of those things that I just talked about? Are you struggling with any of the anxieties or depressions or shame or guilt? I want you to write those down because those are going to be targets that we will hit eventually. I want you to look at removing all of the damage that sex addiction has created in your life, and not just the obvious things that we see personally and also in your relationships. You can do this. You can overcome these things, and by overcoming one problem, we can overcome a lot of problems.